welcome to Awaken the Rebel. I'm Shireen Thor. Thank you so much for being with us. Today we have Sharzad the hottie.
Thank you. Hi.
Hey, what's up?
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. So legit, for all of you guys who are listening, I have been crushing on Sharzad for a lot of years.
Thank you.
It's a little creepy. I don't know. You should be scared right now.
No, I'm not. I'm not scared at all. I'm so happy. I've always loved your vibe from the gram. We met in IRL, in real life.
In real life.
Like, God, before babies.
Yeah,
so
I think
well over 5 years.
Yeah, it was exactly. It had to be like 5 or 6 years ago.
Yeah.
But Sharzad is amazing. So for our listeners, Awaken the Rebel started out, rebel against 9 to 5, live an extraordinary life, and you have clearly done that with your life. So can you give us just a little taste of like what you do for the people who are new to you?
Sure. Hi, everybody. So I'm a Gemini pescatarian.
Stop it.
I started blogging and making YouTube videos in August 2011 is kind of when I just said, hey, this is something that I want to explore. I want to do. I really wanted to turn it into a business pretty early on. Back in those early days, if you will, nobody was really talking about how to monetize your content. There were no rules. There was no word like influencer, content creator. There weren't any agencies that connected brands with influencers. There was no hashtagging. It was a different time, but there was a lot of people doing really cool stuff on the internet. And to be honest, I really just wanted to be a part of that world. Just like Ariel in Little Mermaid, she wants to. I won't sing.
I'm sorry that I just did that.
I'm glad you did because I have a terrible voice. I know my strengths. That's not one of them. I sing for my own pleasure in the car, and nobody else can hear me. So I started creating content and just really hustling and putting myself out there and turning it into a business, going to events constantly to network and meet people, and over time started to develop a bit of an audience, and I always thought of my YouTube channel as like a fun place for me to experiment and play, but I ultimately felt like it was a resume to lead me to hosting bigger things, bigger productions, because I like the idea of hosting.
Yeah.
And just like new stuff all the time.
Yeah.
So a few years in, pretty early on, I would say, like maybe a year and a half, 2 years in, I got an opportunity to host, at the time, the biggest online talk show for moms. I wasn't even a mom yet, but
cool.
It was really cool. They kind of wanted like a non-mom perspective. And I think the producers knew that maybe I would eventually be a mom because I had been married for a couple years and definitely expressed how much I loved kids and that was a possibility. So I started hosting that, and that was amazing. It was such a cool way to learn all different styles of hosting. I'd never hosted anything really before in my life except stuff that I'd done on my own personal YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. But that didn't have any producers or production. It was just literally me setting up a camera and trying to figure things out. And then the Moms U was a blast. I learned how to host live and have conversations with lots of people and keep, conversations moving, interview celebrities, interview random people on the street, read a teleprompter, like all these things. Mm-hmm. And it was a wonderful experience. I also got pregnant on the show because I felt like job security, like I gotta keep this thing going. I'm going to need a lot more to talk about. So I might as well get knocked up so I can relate a little bit more.
Totally.
And that was great. It was such a perfect place to become a mom because it was the most supportive environment you could possibly imagine to go from Sharzad to mom. And then from there, I just hosted a lot of different fun projects. Right now, I create content on my personal YouTube channel. A girlfriend and I started a mom channel called Fam for All Moms, where we have honest conversations about motherhood. We have guests on, therapists, nutritionists, whatever. And then I also co-host a show called The Sass, which is a lot of beauty treatments. We do beauty treatments around Los Angeles. Anything you could think of that you're curious about when it comes to the beauty industry in terms of treatments. My girlfriend, Susan Yara, and I have tried it. Botox, microneedling, cellulite treatments, anything. We've been doing it for 4 years. I was really ugly when I started, guys. No, I joke around. We joke around that like we get so many treatments, we better start looking cute. But so I do that, and then a bunch of different content on my personal YouTube channel.
That's so cool.
So it's a lot of hustling. It's a lot of like coming up with new ideas all the time, and putting myself out there and hopefully connecting with people.
This is so good. And it's interesting because it's like I'm so interested in everything you're saying. It's like for my audience, I want to know, like, can you briefly tell us what made you decide to get into that sort of more creative thing versus maybe like a traditional job or whatever?
I have never in my life had a traditional job. Like I've never worked in an office, so I don't even know what that's like. After I graduated, during UCLA, I worked in a spa. And I love the beauty biz. And then when I graduated, I had no idea what I wanted to do. So it was a lot of exploration, learning. I also had bills to pay. So there was a lot of crazy jobs that I had in LA, a lot of wild stories of working for insane people and getting yelled at and treated like shit. I have endless amounts of stories about being just abused by your employer.
Oh, you poor thing.
Which I know a lot of people in LA do,
Totally.
because there's a lot of crazy egos here and people that think that they can treat somebody like shit. And I definitely was somebody that like had all these weird jobs, but I never went after a job that required me to be in an office. And then
good for you.
And then I did, working in beauty and makeup, and kind of it was a roller coaster of freelance, work, which meant I always had another hustle on the side in between like big paying makeup jobs.
Okay.
But no, it wasn't in my DNA. I don't think to
good for
ever
you.
be behind a desk. But I also have never done it before, so I don't know.
Yeah.
It never excited me.
I mean, my story is that I started behind a desk and was like,
Get me out of here.
I hate my life.
Yeah.
But I thought there was something wrong with me. I just was like, man, everybody else does this, and it seems like this must be fine. Why am I the weirdo who isn't cool with it? And then I went to a personal development seminar. It like gave me this massive, dirty, delicious awakening.
Nice.
And then I quit a master's degree and started doing stand-up comedy and just like started going crazy with the honoring my truth, honoring my intuition.
Totally.
And that really led me to honestly just kind of become obsessed with the coaching industry, because I felt like in a lot of ways I was like, what the hell, man? I'm 25. How have I never learned about life skills like this before? How have I never learned about like taking responsibility for what you create in your life? Like, why is that a new idea? I was kind of like, damn, I feel like I should have learned this earlier, and then it would have been a lot easier for me to like carve my path.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to pay it forward.
Yeah.
Now I'm like totally obsessed. So similar to you, hustled, became a mom. I feel like obviously motherhood's a big transformation. So just so you guys know who are listening, this show will actually be about mortality.
Yeah. Yes.
We're like, well, I'm just getting to know Sharzad, and we're like getting through a few things, but like we're actually going to get to like some like dirty, delicious depth in a hot second. So just a prep. Okay. I don't want to shock you when it comes. So similar to you, I did fun, creative things, created a business, whatever, and then became a mother and felt just also, the transformation that happens when you become a mom.
Right, of course. It's huge.
It's just huge, and it's so different. All of a sudden, your life is so much about other people.
Right.
I'm a Gemini too, girl.
Oh, yeah.
We fancy free. We love that
June
freedom.
1st.
Right? May 20th heart.
Oh,
What's
hey,
up,
girl.
Queen? C words all day. No, I'm just kidding.
Twins. There's actually 4 of us here.
So scary. So motherhood was really hard for me. It was a big, hard life change because I missed the fun. I missed the freedom. I missed the like self-care. Like I missed a lot of things. And I feel like, in a lot of ways, the activist in me got awakened because I felt like, oh my God, like every human on the planet is born of a woman. Like how were women ever oppressed? Like all of a sudden I just had this big reverence towards women and femininity and sisterhood. And so my whole life changed. So my rebel movement couldn't be as masculine as it once was. It like changed into a more feminine thing. So now I do like an annual mom's retreat where we just like be free and fancy.
I'm coming to that.
Girl, come on out. Oh yes, I've been telling you about it actually.
I want to go. Yeah.
You should go. So anyway, so to the point. Now you're a mama.
2 boys.
And 2 boys. Oh my God. 2 kids, girl.
4 and 2. I know.
Mad respect.
It's wild.
Mad respect.
You too. We're in the same boat.
Right?
Yeah.
And okay, so tell us about, we're getting into it, guys. We prepped you. It's coming. Tell us about your mom.
So my mom and I have always had truly a beautiful relationship. I mean, I think my whole life I felt very lucky to have the parents that I do, both my parents and my siblings. I felt like I won the lottery by being born into the family that I was born into. Seriously, and I say that with like the most pure heart. I love my family so much, and we're all a tight unit. My mom has been, she's like a best friend, like a sister, best friend, mom kind of thing. A relationship is what we have. Like I genuinely love spending time with her.
So sweet.
And she's also been like on my YouTube channel a bunch in my life. Like I've been doing this for 7 years. We used to have this segment where we would drink wine and talk shit about whatever people were wearing on the red carpet after the Oscars or the Globes. Like
that's fun.
She's basically me, but 28 years older, 29 years older. Anyway, so she was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer in April of last year. So it's just been almost a year. And it was a roller coaster ride, to deal with that initial. We found out she had cancer in March, and then we found after some tests we found out it was stage 4 and terminal colon cancer in April, and it was so weird because nobody in my family has ever had cancer. Nobody has had any terminal illness. I come from a long line of grandparents that have lived into their 80s and 90s on both sides of my family. So many healthy people. I mean, my mom couldn't have been more of the epitome of health. I mean, a teacher working all the time. She could hike up a mountain. She could do yoga. She did a 60-day Bikram yoga challenge. I mean, this woman was fit AF. So to get that and the reason that she realized something was wrong is because she had like a sudden drastic weight loss, and change in her bowel movements. So she went and got it checked out, and anyway, we found that out, and it was traumatic. I'm not gonna lie. It was a brutal time. 2 little kids, working full time in a space where it's so important for me to feel creative and feel like I don't know. I mean, I'm on camera all the time, so I have to kind of have my shit together. Yeah. And then dealing with this idea that one of the most important people in my entire universe might not be there. And it took a lot of, and also, so in the beginning, it's like, it's this overwhelming thing, and it's, it's so confusing, and we didn't know who to tell. I didn't want to start telling people. I couldn't say the words out loud without totally breaking down. I couldn't even say the words, my mom has terminal cancer, without completely bawling and not even being able to breathe. I mean, I felt like my chest was being crushed. Yeah. Fast forward, I started opening up about it on my YouTube channel after my mom said, let's talk about it. She wanted to talk about it because, and also she had been on my YouTube channel a bunch, and I felt like a disservice to not say what was going on in my personal life. I feel like I'm a vulnerable, honest person, and I felt like this was the biggest life shift ever for me to deal with, and it was so important for me to talk about it. And so we did this video together where we talked about life and death, and my mom just has we say she's the most woke woman ever, and because she just has this really unique approach to death, and I think it comes from a life very well lived. And she just has this peace. She's never once said poor me, or had any anger, or had any sadness, or anything about the whole experience. She's truly only thought about gratitude along the whole way. And it's been a year of this. It's been her saying, I have 3 perfect kids. I have 2 healthy grandkids. I've had the best life in the world. And she's has a million friends that have flown from all over the country to visit her and love on her and hug her and kiss her. And honestly, it's been now that I'm a little bit more comfortable, I'm obviously way more comfortable talking about it because I can talk about it without losing my mind and my shit. It's come from talking about it so much that it's made it easier for me to normalize this conversation about death. And when I put it online, and the videos that I've shared about my mom or death or losing a parent or whatever, the response I've gotten is just, it's really overwhelming, and in the best way possible. And so many people thanked me for talking about death, and for just being open about it, and the stories that other people have shared with me about what they've gone through. I feel really honored and special that I'm the recipient of all these beautiful stories of people's loved ones that have passed away. So now it feels like, okay, people want to talk about this and they don't really have a place to, or they... I mean, death is a scary thing. I mean, and I don't know, I never thought I'd talk about death as much as I do now. But in the last 2 years, I lost an uncle, a close cousin, a grandma, and dealing with my mom's terminal illness. Like, it's happening. It's going to happen to me, even though I'm scared to talk. I'm scared to think about my own mortality sometimes, and I'm terrified of thinking about my kids' mortality or my husband or something. Like, I have to talk about it. I have to get more comfortable. So... short story long, that's kind of what I've been sharing on the internet lately. And I have to say, though, it feels good. It's my therapy, and I'm putting it out there. It feels good to talk about it. So thank you for also creating a space where I can talk about this. And I know you said you lost your dad, right? Yeah.
I lost my dad when I was 17.
Right.
So, like, rewind a little. Mommy
Yeah.
and Daddy got divorced when I was 1. Daddy was abusive.
Okay.
So it wasn't like I had this, like, so when I tell people, I lost my dad when I was 17, I
Yeah.
think they immediately assume that I had a happy family and then they feel bad that my dad died.
Right.
So it's a little bit of like a complicated grief because my relationship with him was complicated.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, they were divorced, but we did visitations, and
Yeah.
he was a part of my life, albeit a removed part of my
Yeah.
life. It wasn't an amazing relationship, but he did die the summer before my senior year in high school.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to talk about death ever since.
Really? Well, let's talk about
girl,
it.
right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you are so right that people don't talk about it.
No.
And it's like a taboo. When really, like you said, like, it's a part of life. Like, it's happening,
Yeah.
dude. Like, it's happening all around us all the time.
Right.
I don't understand our Western culture, how we want to push reality away. Like,
Yeah.
bro,
Right.
like, it's happening. Like, why can't we talk about this?
Death doesn't discriminate either. I've learned that too. It doesn't matter. You can be the healthiest person in the world, and death doesn't discriminate. So it is something that we have to talk about so that it's not as scary. And maybe it is a Western culture thing as well.
I mean, I think it is. I think
Yeah.
we're like kind of waspy about stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we just want to push stuff under the rug. We want to push uncomfortable emotions around the rug. We want to pretend we have our shit together. I think things are changing because of social media. I think authenticity is becoming the new black. Like, it's cooler and more popular and more interesting for people to have a high emotional IQ and be real.
Yeah, totally.
So I do think it's taking a big turn.
Yeah.
But I still think we have like leaps and bounds to go when it comes to just talking about death. And I liked that you were bringing it up on your Instagram because, like, obviously I'm a mega fan. Whatever.
Thanks,
what a nerd.
Thank you, girlfriend.
But I was like, oh my God, it's so exciting to see someone who is out there and putting stuff out there. And you're doing like mom stuff. You're doing the sass. You're doing beauty. You're doing fun. You're doing like brand ads, whatever the things. And in the midst of all that, you're also talking about death. I think that's healthy and balanced because that's the reality of what we're all dealing with. We're dealing with all of life and death, you know? So I was just excited to see someone building a brand and keeping it real.
Yeah,
you know?
Thank you. I really appreciate that. I mean, I don't know how to be any other way but myself and real. I'm so happy that you say that comes off on Instagram, which can feel like such a sad, depressing place. I know for me, like, I have to create healthy social media habits so that I don't fall in this trap of comparing myself and feeling bad that I'm not going on a private jet to Turks and Caicos and that I'm not a size 0 and whatever.
Yeah.
And I felt like opening up about this terminal cancer that my mom has the reaction I've gotten is that people feel like they can really relate in some way, shape, or form. And I think that that's the good part of social media, when you feel like you can relate to somebody. Of course, there's going to be people that are super fancy and do all this fun stuff that might make you feel a little bad about your own life. But I unfollow those people as soon as I get that icky vibe from them.
Yeah.
And I felt like it was just my mission to just be as transparent as possible. I don't know how to be any other way. And I think the thing that you brought up is that there are so many elements of life, and life is complex and humans are complex. I can definitely still find happiness all the time, even though I'm dealing with this, pending expiration date that my mom was given, and that's okay. I can still go and laugh and do beauty treatments with my girlfriend because that feels good. It makes me so happy to do that stuff. I think in the early stages of the diagnosis, I was maybe numbing myself a little too much with wine, kind of shifting, feeling like I wanted to party a little bit more, kind of lost a little bit of my purpose, felt like I didn't have my A game on as a mom, just felt like sorry for myself because this was happening to me. It felt like everything bad was happening to me. And I had to check myself. No, nothing bad is happening to me. This is life. Yeah. And I need to find happiness and gratitude in the everyday moments because this is my life. And I'm a mom and I love my job and I love my husband. I love my family. And I want to love my life again. I don't want to be sad. I don't want to numb myself with wine or cocktails all the time or whatever. Yeah. I really, really had to check myself, and it came from a lot of soul searching, journaling, crying, conversations with my mom while she's still here, conversations with my siblings who are going through the exact same thing I am, and then just truly focusing on the things that I am so grateful for and that I have in my life, which there are millions and millions of things that I can sit around and be grateful for. Even on the days when it's hard, it's like, bitch, you woke up today, you're healthy, your kids are healthy. It's almost like I want to slap myself and say, shut the fuck up. You know, because I also like, and I don't know if this is like right or wrong to compare your grief, but I think about somebody who was like born and raised in a refugee camp and is still able to smile every day, and maybe their whole entire family has been murdered. And I think, don't be sad about losing your mom when there are things that you can really be sad about, like somebody's life like that. And like, whenever I have told people that, they're like, don't compare your grief. It's okay to be sad. And I'm like, I know, but I don't know. Not that I shouldn't be sad, but I don't know. I feel like I can accept it more when I think about things that feel bigger and more important to be sad about. Does that make sense?
It totally makes sense. It makes sense, and also it sounds like it's your, like...
Maybe it's my coping mechanism.
It sounds like it's your coping mechanism so that you don't go too down and too dark.
Yeah.
And, like, to support you in that from someone who's on this side of things.
Yeah.
Like, and not even that you need the support, but I'm just... Is it okay that I say this right now?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yes, say anything.
What's cool... Well, did they say here's how much time she has?
Yeah.
What did they say?
A year.
A year more.
A year, yes. No, so...
A year from last April?
Yeah, so April. So we're coming up on her expiration date here, because we're in, March. Yeah. Yeah, so they said a year.
Let's just pray that she blows it out,
I don't think that's going to happen. I'm realistic. I see her deteriorating physically. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Spiritually, she's incredible. I mean, she's like this... little angel floating around, making everybody feel at peace about their own mortality and her mortality, and bossing everybody around about what she wants her funeral to be. And she doesn't actually want it a funeral. She wants it a life celebration. And she, she's making it funny too. She said, don't come in here all weepy willow crying. If you've got cancer jokes, I want to laugh. Let's hear them. What do you got? Since she has colon cancer, I said, all my jokes are shitty. So bad.
Nailed it.
She thought it was funny though, so I made my mom laugh. So that was good.
That's
when I told my mom that one, she was like, I like it.
I like
it. So yeah, we're getting close to her expiration date. But I mean, she'll always be with me.
Yeah. And
I know that in my heart. Mm-hmm. And I will,
And she's in the Bay?
She's in Cupertino, yeah. So I go up there all the time.
Yeah.
And I have to say, we have made the best of this year that we've made it the best year we possibly could. I mean, truly, the doctor said, if you have you have about a year, that's what it looks like to us. It's not like a final answer, but that's what they predict. And if you have some living to do, go out and live it.
Yeah.
And she took that seriously. And my brother moved his wedding date up. He got married in Medellin, Colombia. So we all went there. We went to Florida. We went to Vancouver. My mom has traveled so much in the last year. She's seen everybody she wants to see. All these people truly have come out of the woodworks to like come and just hold her hand and hug her. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, she's dying the way she lived, full of people and love and energy and happiness and laughter. And it's been a really powerful thing to watch. Mm-hmm. It really has. I can't. I mean, I'm gonna miss her every day, but she's still here now, so I get to see her tomorrow, and I just focus on the present. Yes, I do.
I'm so happy.
Something like this has also truly, really taught me to focus on the present. Like, I didn't know. Like, a lot of people say focus on the present, and I never really knew what that meant.
You're like, sounds good.
Yeah,
Consciousness.
So yeah. I'm like, I do yoga. Is that present? No, I mean, and I never really understood. And I felt like with this diagnosis, once I kind of wrapped my head around it and kind of really stopped numbing myself and dug deep and did soul searching and shit like that, that I really did focus on the present. And if today, right now, everything is good, then that's good. Good. So that's what you have to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially with a terminal illness. I mean, I feel like I don't know. I just feel like it's such a tough situation, and I would 100% honor every part of you that feels dark and sad about it.
Yeah.
And then I would also 100% honor the part of you that's like, fucking, get your shit together, Sharzad.
Yeah.
You still have a really great life, and you want to enjoy the moments you have with your mom,
do.
you know?
Exactly.
Yeah. I just honor all of that. Because,
Thank you. Yeah.
Because it is going to be like so sad when she's not here.
Yeah.
Just as it's going to be like for me when my mom passes, I just don't necessarily know when it's going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas
Right.
like you have like a little bit of knowledge right now and you're like,
Right.
oh shit, it's like giving you a specific timeline.
Yeah.
But the silver lining in that dirty ass timeline
Yeah.
is that so you get to travel with her
Absolutely.
and soak her in and just like you said, like be not even just be present, but like really take her in before she's gone.
Right.
You know?
And being intentional. I can't tell you how many good things have already come into my personal life from this experience. I know that sounds like a weird thing to say, but I've tried so hard to look on the bright side or the silver linings in everything. And just an example, like I've had so many more honest conversations, real, vulnerable, raw conversations with people since this diagnosis, since I opened up about it with other people.
Yeah.
The conversations, we get deep right away.
Boom.
We're crying by 11. We're, whatever.
Yeah.
And I love that.
That's good.
Cut the bullshit. Like, let's just dive in and get deep. I don't want to waste, like, let's go for it,
Yeah.
And I love that. And I have made so many things in my life like more intentional. Like the time I spend with my kids is not time where I'm on my phone sitting next to them and they're on an iPad. Like, no, we are focusing on intentional time with kids.
Yeah.
When I'm with my mom, I'm doing my best to be as intentional and present as possible.
Cool.
And the content that I've started to create has been it's shifted. And she loves what I'm doing now.
That's so cool.
She loves that it's like deeper and not maybe as surface level stuff as I was doing before. She loves that there's, that I'm having a conversation about death. She loves that that's happening. And that's because she gave me the courage to talk about it. She had such a strong, she's so woke. She had such a strong sense of spirit when it came to mortality. And it made me so much more comfortable to have these conversations that, normally people shy away from.
Yeah.
And I certainly shied away from them. I don't like, it's not like I woke up and go, I love talking about death.
Let's do that.
It's just become, my therapy. And I know the response I get, it's other people's therapy too.
Yeah.
They are thanking me left and right. And I've never gotten a response like this from any video I've ever done. So there's something to be said about being vulnerable,
Yeah. And it's so interesting too, just to revisit, like, I'm redoing my About Me page because that's
nice.
interesting in the middle of this talk. And like, I'm changing it from look at what I've done to like more of a story, like what created Awakened Rebel and the motherhood stuff and just whatever. And part of that story is when my dad died.
Right.
And as I was writing it, this was just like a month ago, and I went away for an overnight with my bestie. And we're just like having a solo hangout. And I was like writing this story. And as I got to the part like explaining how when I was 17, my dad dying sent me on this trajectory of sort of being obsessed with life and obsessed with like, I just completely broke down. I didn't even have a close relationship with my dad, but here I am like a grown ass old lady, like and I'm like writing this old story. Literally, it's like 20 years later, okay? And I just break down, and I was kind of processing it with my buddy, and I was like, you know what? It wasn't even, for me at least, it wasn't even him. It was the finality of mortality, knowing that someone was once here and now they're gone. Yeah. Like there's something about mortality that just was like a gut punch at the age of 17.
Oh my God. 17. Whew.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I was like deep and dark real early.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, I remember dealing with death when I was 9 from losing an aunt, and then again in high school when there like this awesome kid passed away. And so death it's always around us.
Yeah.
But yeah, to lose your dad at 17. Well, look, I mean, me being vulnerable, talking about death, you reached out to me. Yeah. So this is already paying off very nicely.
Very nicely.
So, putting yourself out there, only good can come from it, I think.
I mean, and that's kind of like what my whole like Awaken the Rebel thing is about. It's like I am not interested in social norms. I'm very bored by them.
Yeah.
I feel like there's like different different types of people in the population, and there's one type that like really likes rules and following rules, and they tend to be more like the stabilizers of society, and they make things very normal. And then there's these like crazy kinds, people who don't really subscribe to rules, and they're just kind of like walk to the beat of their own drum and feel very boxed in by 9-to-5 cubicle jobs, and they just have like their spirit almost like cannot live and breathe in the normal. And so to me, like, having a conversation that's taboo is like exactly what we need to be doing, because I don't want to follow the rules that say like, look, don't talk about that, like brush it under the rug. That seems crazy to me. You know what I mean?
Totally.
That's actually crazy. So tell me this, like, let's say there's someone listening and they actually are maybe mourning death. Like, what would be your thoughts or insights you'd want to give them?
I mean, God, everybody grieves so differently. And I mean, my mom is still here, so I feel very fortunate in that. But I have lost a lot of people in my life. And I mean, I'm a crier and I'm a journaler. And those are things that help me get through. Wine, not to the extent that I was drinking it maybe. But for me, also just like having a lot of alone time to like understand, you know, what was going on, I guess, a little bit more, just to process things. You know, for me being a mom, like I needed a little bit of alone time to like really figure out like what was going on. But but I think like having, okay, so I read a book when I was younger called Many Lives, Many Masters. I'm not a religious person. I have like a mixture of religions in my family. We cover everything. You want Jewish, we got Jewish. You want Muslim, we got Muslim. You want Southern Baptist, we got it. Catholic, we're here. You know, I literally, and I grew up without any religion in my life. So for me, I don't have some picture perfect, clear cut idea of like, there's a heaven and that's where I'm going, or that's where I'll see my mom. Like, it's not that way for me. But I like to think that my spirit will go on and that my energy will go on, and my mom believes in that, and I like to believe in that because it just feels good, so why not? But this book that I read a long time ago, and I actually want to reread it, Many Lives, Many Masters, kind of this idea of reincarnation. And you know, that book comforted me in a time of loss in, I think I read it in high school the first time. And I've always referenced it back as something good to read or pick up, you know, if somebody is mourning the loss of somebody. But what I truly, truly believe, though, is that if you are going through a really rough time, finding something that really is fulfilling to your personal life and gives you purpose to get up every day, splash water in your face, brush your teeth, and go out and live your life is going to be the thing that makes or breaks you. I probably should have led with that. But that for me, like finding purpose and a sense of fulfillment and knowing that thing that I'm doing will honor the person that is gone is truly huge, because then I think you can find some satisfaction and some happiness in that. So it you know, it doesn't happen maybe right away, and I think for me finding my purpose again and my sense of fulfillment came from a lot of soul searching, a lot of dark places, a lot of sadness, a lot of fear that I, you know, experienced when I thought about my mom's mortality, and then it led to my mortality and then my kids' mortality, and just thinking about death all the time, and then trying to take a deep breath and relax and try and not get into that negative spiral rabbit hole that a lot of people go down. And then it helped me tune in a little bit more to like my purpose and my sense of fulfillment, that if I have something that I do every day or that I work towards every day, then I'll be happy and I can find something to get up and live for. You know, did that make sense?
It's like perfect.
Okay.
Well, and it's perfect too that you didn't lead with that, because you kind of were first saying space and time. You were saying like quiet moments and journaling and crying and wine and whatever, just basically space and time. And I think that's just like makes my heart so happy to hear you say that, because I feel like we just rush, you know, like we just rush through life. We just got stuff to do and our to-do list and blah, blah, blah. And then we're like having a midlife crisis, or we're like breaking down at the bank, like, you know what I mean? Because we have not created the space to allow your emotion, like, what do I feel? Like, what does this mean? Like, even going down the rabbit hole for just a hot second, because then it makes you in tune with like what fears are now coming up as a result of what I'm experiencing, you know? I was actually just talking to Brian and his brother Pat, and Pat just finished chemo. And so he's going to go like in a week to see if he has you know, like he's getting his results.
Yeah.
And
he's a young guy, so that's different too. That's a different kind of grief. I mean, for me, the grief is my mom who became a grandma, who had an incredible life, very well lived. It's a little it's an easier pill to swallow.
Yeah.
I can't speak on grief of losing a child or a husband or going through something like that. I don't know what to say. I'll be honest. I don't know the first thing about that kind of grief.
Yeah.
But go ahead. What was he saying?
But I think, you know, what him and I were talking about was just how now that he's done with chemo, it's almost harder because now he's processing a lot of the stuff that he was just like plowing through to get through chemo. And so anyway, back to your space. Like, I just feel like that's so healthy and beautiful to recommend that for people, to have time and space for their emotions. Yeah. That's like, honestly, that's 100% like one of the reasons why I changed Awaken the Rebel and was like, I need to do a retreat. Like, I need to literally pluck mothers out of their environment and put them away in the freaking woods and have them be like quiet and like so their soul can speak. Because I feel like the second thing you said was really like making sure that maybe after you have the space and you get your clarity, that you do have something to wake up for. And like whatever that thing you're waking up for that you could splash water on your face and like get up and go to is something that really will fulfill your soul's purpose. Yeah. So you're not digging around, you're not clocking in and clocking out, you're not wasting your life. Right. You're really living lit up, you know?
Right. And I say that knowing that I have the privilege to do that. And I'm aware that a lot of people don't have the opportunity that I have to be creative and flexible and free and have all this time. So I just want to point that out, that I know that there are people out there that don't have the luxury of finding free time to go sit and process their feelings, that they have to get up and go because they have bills that need to be paid and they can't find that time. So I just want to say I am aware that I'm lucky in that sense, you know, and I don't know, I have to just, I feel gratitude all the time that I get to do what I do, and that's why I can't be sad, you know, because I am so lucky, and I'm so aware of that. Because I think it can be like tricky for me, somebody to be like, yeah, just like take some time and like grieve and stuff. I mean, that is so important, but I get that there's people that just don't have that luxury too. So I just want to say, you know, I don't know what to say to that.
You know what? To be honest, I think that's a really good point. And for all y'all listening, if you are one of the people who has the flexibility to like carve out some space for yourself, then fucking do it.
Yeah, right, exactly.
And if you are one of those people who doesn't have the time and space for that, figure it out. I would say like prioritize it, because I feel like it's not an either or, you know what I mean? Like like let's even say like hypothetically, I'm a mom, a busy mom, and I'm a single mom and I don't have a budget for a babysitter. Right. Well then, you know what? Why don't you like call your bestie and be like, can you take these kids off my hands for the next 8 hours so I can be in some silence? Like, you know, I just feel like there's always some solution. Yeah. Yes. So that's just, you know, just to put a little coachy pressure on y'all listening.
No, that's good. No, that's good. That's good. I think that is important. And I feel like one of the things, you mentioned call your bestie, the sense of community. Like, so many people have asked me, like, what can I do for you? What can I do for you?
That's so sweet.
And people want to help. You know, people really want to help in this in a time of I don't know, grief or sadness or darkness. So if you are somebody that needs a little help and somebody offers, take them up on it.
Totally.
You know, like, don't have an ego there. Like, take people up on their help, if it's to watch your kids or if you need money or start a GoFundMe or whatever. Like, don't be shy. And I do think that there is a big importance on like trying to find a little bit of space. So however you can get that, like, it is important to try and get that and feel the feelings and work through them. But you know, I mean, I don't know, I don't have all the answers. I listen to a lot of like Deepak Chopra, and you know, you can find some Deepak on like, you know, Spotify. Bubba Ram Dass has like some woke ass thoughts on death and life. I mean, like, I kind of have hippie parents, so you know, that's kind of, I guess, the vibe that I grew up with. But my mom is so woke about death that I have to be woke about it too. That's like, so it just is, it's rubbing off on me, even though I was resistant at first and I was so emotional. She just kept plowing it in, and my brother and sister too. You know, just being grateful. I have a new I have a little niece on the way that's coming, who's going to be my birthday twin, so June 1st, sweet. Hopefully. So I'm really excited. You know, one of the best ways to get, and again, my mom is still here, but one of the best ways to deal with something like this is a baby.
Yes,
because they're just so yummy and they're so distracting. And I was pregnant with my second when I lost a close uncle, actually my mom's younger brother.
Whoa.
And that was a huge shock too. So there's been, again, a lot of death in the family. And I was so happy to have the distraction of a pregnancy, a toddler, and a new baby on the way. Like, so if you're sad, make a baby. That's my advice. That's my advice. Get busy, make a baby. Hug a baby. Oh my God, babies are my fucking therapy. I mean, I need therapy because of them, but they're also my therapy. You know what I mean?
Oh, girl.
How can you be sad about anything when you look at just a pure, innocent soul, and then they pee on you, and they make you laugh, and it's like, thank you, I'm alive.
It's so awesome. I love it. Yeah. Okay, so just closing out here, what would your mom say to the audience about how to deal with death?
Oh, man, she would say it's so much better than anything I would say because she's so smart and her vocabulary is through the motherfucking roof. She was a teacher. She would say, that she's always with me no matter what, and that I can always talk to her. Yeah.
Oh, my God.
She's woke.
She's a sage.
I'm telling you, she is so woke.
That's
She's
so cool.
this little angel of death.
I love it. Oh my God.
She's the coolest person ever. I have a video where you can see how woke she is on my YouTube channel.
I would
too.
love.
And
Yes.
it's honestly I'm crying in the video a lot. But hearing the words from her, it's really comforting too.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, we'll put it in the show notes.
There you
go. I
go.
like it, y'all.
Yeah, there you go.
So, more explorations of death, not only this podcast, but we'll link you to another episode of Sharzad's YouTube channel so we can make you cry more.
Yes, that one you might cry. Today, hopefully there was no hopefully everybody's eyes were dry.
I hope we made him cry. I like to make it hurt, girl.
Cry!
Get those tears out. I'm just kidding. Okay, so Sharzad, before we go, where can everybody find you?
Sharzad Kiadeh is my Instagram account, Sharzad Kiadeh. But wait, thank you so much. Truly, thank you so much, Shireen, for having me on and just making a place available for me to just have another therapy session. So, yeah, that was good. You saved me a couple $100 there, lady.
Yeah, I'm all in, Quine. And you're so humble because we all know that you sharing vulnerably and honestly is such a gift to me, to anyone who encounters this podcast, to people who want to keep it real and really connect. That's what we all want. We just want to connect.
Everybody wants to connect.
Right?
Yes.
It's so good.
Yes.
So thank you, my dear.
Thank you.
For just blessing us with this time and energy.
My pleasure.
And space. You brought your comedy. You brought your sage energy. It's so good. All right, y'all. Thank you for listening. Find Sharzad. She is literally the effing coolest.
Thanks.
And, check us out at awakentherebel.com. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.